Hello, Ranger Pine here, and welcome to the Pueblo Mountain Park. The Pueblo Mountain Park is also the home of the Nature and Wildlife Discovery Center's Mountain Campus and the Horseshoe Lodge and Retreat Center, as well as our Nature Preschool, Forest School. As you enter the mountain park's main entrance, there's quite a bit of signage here. Activities that are encouraged, activities that are prohibited, the constantly upgraded and downgraded fire restrictions, things like that, as well as the hours of the park and the dates when those hours are in effect. There's also a little kiosk over here, and in this kiosk there are some maps that are available for you to take of the roads and trails in the mountain park. Of course, we have some new prohibitions, some new things to think about with the COVID-19 pandemic. So we're going to go over a few of those because it's not quite business as usual out here if you're coming out here to recreate. There's a few extra precautions and things we want to let you know about. First of all, if you go to the right over here, there's an amazing large parking lot. Going to the left will get you a hair closer to the trailheads, but the roads are cabled off, so you won't be able to drive up to the trailheads at this point. But there's a small parking lot up there. It gets really congested and really crowded. Our suggestion would be to park at the main parking lot, and I'll go up there and show you that. As you drive up, going to the right there from the main entrance, come up here, swing around. We have the historic lodge, which houses some of our classrooms, offices, kitchen, cafeteria, and rooms to rent, as well as dorms to rent. All those services, of course, right now are not available. But you can see we have quite a huge parking lot up here. So this is where we would suggest parking. And from here you can just move on past these cars here. There's a trail going down to the pond, give you access to the lower road, and hiking up from there, you can seek out the various trailheads on the middle road and the high road. Right across the street we have pit toilets. We have women's and men's pit toilets, which are kind of a primitive waste recycling, composting system, normally open to the public. Of course, right now these are not open to the public. Wouldn't suggest their use, so that's something that you should consider. You're going to have to take care of that business elsewhere. Maybe watch some videos. We'll probably make some about how to safely dispose of your waste and poop in the woods, stuff like that. So we'll probably make some kind of a video about that as well. You could look that up online though as well. So as far as for picnicking and hanging out when you can't use the picnic tables, there's a lot of open area out here. Of course, all the precautions and advisements we're receiving are to spread out. You know, we don't want to be where other people have been. We kind of want to find yourself a nice, beautiful spot out here. It's a huge park. There's a lot of really nice places out here. Places with some beautiful wildflowers. So that's what we're suggesting, is finding a nice spot out here to have a picnic. These are our bear-proof trash cans out here. Bears cannot operate the latch on these, and keeps the trash safe, therefore keeping the bears healthy and safe. We don't want them eating garbage or getting used to picnic areas as being a source of food. We have black bears in Colorado. They're not really a danger to humans. It's not like they're going to be trying to hunt you down and eat you. They're mostly vegetarians, so it's not really an issue with them. But we want to make sure that they stick to their natural diet, because they are opportunists, and if they can find a good source of tasty trash, they will do that, and that brings them around people. So out here in Beulah, this community is very bear aware, and the mountain park has these bear-proof trash cans. Some things to consider about this trash can is the latch. Now, you're going to want to put your hand in this area right here, right in here, push a little button in there, and then you can lift up the lid. And when you close it, you need to make sure that this latch latches, otherwise the bears can still get into it. Of course, when operating this time during the pandemic, you're going to want to be wearing gloves. It's hard to say who else has used this. And then, of course, once you use this with your gloves, you probably need to dispose of those gloves, because once you use gloves to touch anything, if you touch anything else, you're going to cross-contaminate that. So, something to consider when using gloves. We can't just use these gloves all day long. Or you've got to remember that everything you touch, if you touch something that has the virus on it, you could be spreading it to everything else. So you kind of got to imagine, you got to think about this virus as if everything around here was coated in poop, right? Something like that. And if you touch it, it gets on you. And if you touch something else, it gets on that thing. So we've got to consider everything we touch, and even the use of gloves. Just because you're wearing gloves doesn't mean you're not spreading it if you're not careful. If you come up this road past the old basketball court, there is a little more available parking up here. Another small parking area right up this way. Good place to park. It's small though. Again, we suggest parking up at the larger lodge parking lot. There is a cable over the road up there, and that cable, so if you park here and you want to hike up this road, please go around the cable. I've been seeing a lot of people grab that cable with their bare hands and lift it up, and that virus, of course, can live on metal for 30 days, so not a good idea, even with gloves, again, as we just talked about gloves. So just go around. That cable's attached to 2 trees. There's a little trail. You can walk right around that, and you can walk the road and head up into the greater part of the park. And it's lovely areas for sauntering through the woods and picnicking on the ground. We don't really advise the trails right now because the trails are narrow and you're going to be passing people in close proximity. If you do use those trails, when you do meet people, perhaps try to get off the trail a little bit to pass each other. But again, we really need to be cautious. Even though we're out here and there's a lot of fresh air and a lot of open space, a lot of times people aren't using that wisely. So we just want to encourage, in these times that are very different for us, to have very different ways of approaching things and getting the things done that we need to do. Even with recreation, we need to do it in new ways. We need to adopt new behaviors. We need to adapt to the situation and find some nice places to picnic out here. Some lovely forests out here. You can find shady places, you can find sunny places. You've got the ponderosa pine forest areas, which are very grassy. There's some of the more shady Douglas fir areas. Might even still find a few little patches of snow out here. A little closer look at this cable. Also, if you're coming up here to this upper small parking lot, please don't park in front of the road. We still need to access that for fire and services, so this is not a good place to park right here in front of the cable. This cable is attached, of course, to this tree and this tree, and what you're not going to want to do is walk up to the cable and pick it up with your bare hands. A lot of people have been doing that. That virus can live on this metal and wood for 30 days out here. So we advise walking walking around, there's a little trail right here. You can just walk around the cable and be on your way up into the park, into some of these lovely forests for walking, strolling, and picnicking. It's one of our picnic shelters for shelter during rain, etc. Probably not a good thing to utilize now. And something that we should take into consideration is picnic tables. Picnic tables are off limits right now. A lot of people will use these. A lot of people are touching these, so this is something that you don't want to use. We suggest sitting on the ground, finding a rock to sit on, and getting out into some of these wild areas and picnicking. Listen to the birds. I've got a Abert squirrel over there. It's gone now. But a lot of nice places to picnic out here. So again, this is Ranger Pine, the Nature and Wildlife Discovery Center up here at the Pueblo Mountain Park. We want to encourage you to get out, get some recreation and get some fresh air, move your body, stay healthy. But part of that is going to be considering the advisements due to this pandemic, and just remember that a lot of these things apply to any park, any national forest that you go to. Be careful with passing people on trails if you're using the trails, and remember that all playgrounds are closed. A lot of public facilities like our pit toilets, those are closed. Be careful when you touch anything, and remember that when you touch something, you may be spreading something or picking something up. So careful to wash your hands, use gloves, use those gloves wisely. Be as informed as you can and make some wise decisions. We're gonna have to change a lot of our behaviors in these strange times. But wish you well. Hope this was informative. Hope it's helpful. Love to see you out here. You know, if I see you parking or walking around the park, I'm gonna probably say hi. Let's stay friendly to each other, take care of each other, and be safe. Have a good day.